insight into MH-370 and a lot more. It's time for another UFO News Roundup. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. One of the most mysterious things about MH-370 is the drone footage. Why was there a drone there? If this was an anomalous event, what does that mean? Well, we're going to get a little details on the drone and also some details on the orbs in this next clip with Ashton Forbes.
Related to it. The other one's called Thermal HD.
Thermal HD, clip 7,
yeah.
Joe.
This one, yep. So you can see the MQ-1C Gray Eagle right there. I mean, it's clearly an MQ-1C Gray Eagle. If you guys look it up, the camera's underneath the wing.
That's the drone.
In the custom loadout location. This thing is flying so close to the plane that it indicates an operation. Like any military person that looks at this is going to know this looks like an operation. This camera is being manually controlled, and there's a delay in it. And it shakes more accurately when they zoom in, just like a real camera would. You can see the same orbs here. And this is where we can tell what's going on with these orbs. This is a plasma field.
Wow.
So this orb, this is not a metal sphere. This is like a plasma field around the orb, and when it zooms in even more, first of all, you can see these dark lines are actually in front of the orbs. They're not behind the orbs, they're in front of them, and it's like their own gravity well that they're pulling forward. Then you can see the heat signatures on these orbs as well, spinning around on their axis, which is consistent with topological monopoles that this science wasn't even public back then. And you saw that disappear. And if you let it play here as well, it will show, there's like a slow-mo version if you just let it keep going here, where it shows the orbs in more detail. So the other part too is like, watch this next part where it goes and shows it, repeats it in slow-mo, and you're like, if you made a fake video, why are you adding these slow-mo elements to it so that like if there was any mistake, people would catch them? Right. It's because they want to show people these are real. They want people to look at this and go, this is a plasma sphere. You can see it. There's probably something inside there. And the reason why I say that is because we've got multiple different effects happening here. Like these things are ignoring gravity, they're pulling themselves forward, and then they converge and zap this plane in this cold endothermic event, which is an absorption of energy. To be able to do all of that, I feel like there's got to be something mechanical in there. So this person adds this, you can see that heat signature in there as well. And it's like a kind of like a orange slice almost is what it looks like, called the Ukana Vasara in terms of like the Thor's hammer shape. And then it shows the super slow-mo here where you actually, when you look into a lot of detail, you can see the orbs reorient. Once you, like right here, when you see the orb right there, the orbs are reorienting. The heat signature goes away for a second, comes back, and then they got into orientation, and then they converge. This is consistent with something called Coulomb's law, which says that the force, electric force will increase as the distance between the charges decreases, and it goes up exponentially. So people wonder, how do we get enough energy here? Is, well, you take these charged orbs and then you jam them together, and then the force skyrockets in the air.
Okay, so there you go. Ashton Forbes, great reporting on MH-370. What do you guys think? If it was a legit event, and, you know, I'm still on the fence about it. It's either disinformation, you know, deliberate disinformation put out by the government to hide some sort of skullduggery, like shooting a plane down, for example, because there was classified information in those videos in the satellite, the supposed satellite video. So, you know, it had to have come from the inside. If it was a hoax or something like that, it wasn't just some random person making a hoax video. It was disinformation because of that classified information, which was shortly declassified. It was probably in the stages of some sort of stages of declassification while this was going on. So there may have been more people involved and had access to it during that time, possibly. Or it was a legit event, a legit anomalous event, and this plane really was vanished by these orbs. And, you know, it's very compelling, this drone footage, because, yeah, why would there be a drone there? You know, if this was a truly anomalous event, let's just say it was, then either it was a government caused event because they knew it was going to happen and they had a drone in place and they had satellites watching it, or else they were aware of some sort of alien event or non-human event that was shortly going to happen, which they seem to do. They will, black helicopters will show up on Skinwalker Ranch immediately after a UFO event occasionally. Stuff like that. They seem to be aware of when these things are going to happen, or they know immediately when it does happen. So, is it the government? Is it alien? I don't know. I'm still on fence about MH-370, but terrific reporting from Ashton Forbes. Meanwhile, Ross Coulthart says, this is a significant escalation from a congressman doing his proper oversight role. Representative Matt Gaetz suggests DoD Aero has withheld significant evidence in its Whitewash report on the Eglin Air Force Base training area sighting. Let's see now who really runs the USA. Well, it's the control group, unfortunately. Matt Gaetz says, last year when I attempted to receive a briefing with the flight crew who witnessed the UAP at Eglin Air Force Base, the Air Force tried to block me. This report by Aero is incomplete and does not reflect all of the information that I was shown. I believe all the information regarding the sighting should be released to the public, including pictures from the pilot and radar signatures. So there you go. Shots fired by Matt Gaetz calling Aero out for disinformation. I love it. This is huge. We have a congressperson actually calling out Aero. Kirsten Gillibrand, unfortunately, was really sticking up for Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, and Aero. And we haven't heard really peep for many of the Congress people really calling out Aero. But now Matt Gaetz is saying, yes, they are a disinformation organization. He doesn't use those words. I would love it if he did. All he's going to say is it's incomplete and does not reflect the information he was shown. But that is very telling from a congressman. So kudos Matt and Ross. Meanwhile, a teaser of a new video from Jay Anderson from Project Unity. They called Chris Melan the mayor of Area 51, according to Jack Sarfati. That's what John Warner IV, son of U.S. Senator John Warner III, and cousin to Christopher Melan, is saying. He says that's what Jack Sarfati said. So we're getting a little bit of the telephone game, perhaps. But nonetheless, I will be watching that video from Project Unity. It's interesting because Chris Melan, claimed to have a friend at Area 51 who said that Bob Lazar was not, who he says he was or doing what he said he was doing. So, if Christopher Melan does have more involvement with Area 51 than we know about to date, then you have to wonder, if Chris was on the level there. Love Chris. I'm not anti-Chris Melan in any way. We wouldn't be where we are with UFO disclosure right now if not for Chris Melan. TTSA, getting those 3 videos out, all the work he's done, getting the word out about UFOs to the American people and the people of the world. So I'm not anti-Chris at all, but a lot of these people probably have been read into various aspects of various programs, and they are obligated to be untruthful about that. They are probably obligated to lie about this stuff. So is Chris Melan lying about Area 51? I don't know. I haven't even seen the video yet. It hasn't even come out yet. It's going to come out Sunday p.m. in the UK. But definitely sounds intriguing, so I'll be watching. Meanwhile, Travis Taylor explains why he and Brandon Fugel were against the Schumer-Rounds amendment.
Skinwalker Ranch stars fought against Senator Schumer UFO legislation.
Dadgum right. Dadgum right we did. Dadgum right we did.
What was that about?
All right, because if you go and you read that the Schumer-Rounds Act, if you read it, it gave eminent domain to the federal government that anything that seemed of, didn't even say it had to be proved, of non-human intelligence or unknown technical origin, that it became immediate property of the federal government under eminent domain. And so that meant if they decided, whoever they are, in some committee in the Senate, that they thought that Skinwalker Ranch had some kind of unknown technical origin, they would come take the ranch.
It's like the movie E.T.
Yep. And that's exactly right. And so we fought
Aren't
it and
they
said,
already
no,
taking-
that little boy's
that is a
crying?
violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. It's a violation of the Constitution.
You ain't putting an
Absolutely
interstate
not.
through there.
Yeah.
Travis.
Travis. You remember when the government
Okay, well, so there you go. There's Travis's justification for he and Brandon standing up to the Schumer Rounds Amendment. I kind of partly agree. If Arrow was on the level, if there was actually a government body that was devoted to UFO disclosure and transparency that would receive these materials after they were seized by the government, and they would be honest to the American people about them, then I would say absolutely, why not have eminent domain? We don't necessarily want UFOs falling into the hands of China. And if some, person found a UFO in their backyard with, devastating technology, that they might sell to Russia or China or our enemies, you could see why that would need to be controlled in some way. And there might be some reason for eminent domain. But the government is just going to hide it. They're just going to give it to Arrow, and Arrow is going to hide it away and lie about it. That's what the government has always done, and that's what they will do until there is some sort of sea change going on. I very much hope there's a sea change. Do I expect a sea change? Well, I kind of do. I think that the tide may be turning. Stories like Mike Herrera, you get to see there's this pro-disclosure element within the UFO control group. And I have to think that there's probably building steam. Right. So I think that we're going to get more and more of that in the days to come. And I do think the tide will eventually turn to where we might be able to trust some government body to look into UFOs, maybe a select committee or something like that. So we'll see if that ever happens. But right now, if the government did seize any material, it would go to Arrow, and they would hide it. So I disagree with eminent domain. However, it's not like Lockheed Martin, for example, is transparent either, right? Because that's one of the ideas why they would need eminent domain is because they would need to get it from private contractors who may be holding out on them. And that may be the push for eminent domain is to get some of that material. But the fallout for that, of course, would be they would also seize any material on Skinwalker Ranch and anywhere else, and they would just hide it away. So it's not like Lockheed Martin is being transparent. It's not like the government is being transparent. Both of them are going to continue to hide it, but I do think that someone like Brandon Fugel should be allowed to reveal this to the American people. And so eminent domain probably would not be in our best interest as far as that goes. However, like I said, there is a danger of that technology being sold, for example, to our enemies. So there needs to be new laws saying, yes, you have the right to display this and maybe even study it if you find this in your backyard. But there needs to be certain regulations and rules about how you do that and whether you can sell that or not. So new laws need to be put in place, I think, to control this technology in the dissemination of this technology. Because if there is technology for unlimited energy, for example, that could have wonderful consequences, but it could also have devastating consequences, and we may not want bad guys to have that technology. So there is, it's a complicated, it's a complicated stew of different factors going on here. But I want transparency. I want disclosure. That's going to change the world. So I don't think eminent domain is a great idea. So I support Travis and Brandon for standing up against that. Meanwhile, here's an interesting article from UFO researcher Ann Ruffle, who is talking about alien abductions. And she's talking about people fighting off alien abductions and even banishing alien abductions. People are having these unwanted experiences, and there are apparently remedies to get rid of these experiences and to stop the abductions. Now, the Edgar Mitchell Foundation reports that 8 out of 10 longtime experiencers have a favorable view of their experiences, which is fascinating. Is that Stockholm Syndrome? Is that an evolving understanding with the phenomenon? What is that? But if you do want to get rid of these experiences, as many people do, there are the techniques. Calling out to Jesus and God and stuff like that seems to work for a lot of people. But why? Why is that? Well, Ann Ruffle may have an explanation for why that works and why sometimes it doesn't. If UFO encounter witnesses feel that they have inviolable rights and or the ability to protect themselves, they are protected. If they feel like they have the rights, they are protected. Likewise, if witnesses like Melissa feel that they can receive protection from outside sources, they are protected. It is the confidence that one is protected or that a particular technique will work that seems to bring about success. As with so much with the phenomenon, we seem to co-create these experiences. We are interacting with something that is interacting with our consciousness, and there is a result of that. Now, there are, the phenomenon does seem to have independent agencies and forces that are doing their own thing, independent of our own consciousness. I don't think in Clara's Brazil that those people being attacked by whatever it was were co-creating that in any way, for example. But in many cases, we do seem to be able to co-create that. Co-create these experiences. I know that was true in my own experience. At least my consciousness was involved in there somewhere. However, if you want to get rid of this and you want to call out to Jesus or God or whoever to end these abductions, if you are an abductee, it sounds like the key is to believing those beings or that being is real and that calling out will work. It's worth a shot anyway, guys. Last but not least, a new world record for a psilocybin-containing mushroom, an albino crooked mystery. I love that name. An albino crooked mystery. Weighing in at 1,216 grams wet. When dried, this mushroom is equivalent to 34 3.5 gram doses. All right, look at that fantastic mushroom. My God. That's huge, guys. You guys have a great Sunday. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.